What's up? Welcome into your Buckeye Rush Hour for a Friday, August 16th, 2024. Welcome in. Hope the picture's looking good. I can't really tell from this area, but we got a new toy. I upgraded our platform that we use to broadcast the show. So it should be in 1080p. That's HD to you and me. A lot of rhyming there. You're welcome. But please hop in the comments. Let me know what you think. How's the picture on your end? Are you even watching? That's the question. Some people just listen. But anyways, we are live on not just YouTube now. We are live on Instagram. And as soon as I work out some issues with Mark Zuckerberg, we will be live on Facebook. It's going to take a little time. Instagram's working, not Facebook. It'll get there. Not sure about Twitter yet. It costs more to be on Twitter, of course, because Elon Musk needs to build more Cybertrucks, right? Have you seen those things? You talk about the ugliest freaking car I've ever seen. It looks like a can of tuna, man. Give me a can opener to get out of that thing. It looks terrible. But anyway, so yeah, we are live on Instagram, so you can check us out there. You can find us at just the Buckeye Cast is the account name. And of course, YouTube. And me, Jeff, and Sean will be back Sunday night. Same routine, talking Buckeye football. Not sure what topic we're gonna talk about. We'll probably finish getting Jeff's score predictions because he dropped out like halfway through last week. Anyways, I'll let you know when we have a topic. Make sure you subscribe. If you hit the bell, you'll get notified when we go live. And just pop in, say hello. I love it when you guys give me some feedback. Everything you do, all these little free things like subscribing, leaving comments, liking the video, that all helps with the YouTube algorithm. It gets the show out to more Buckeye fans, which is ultimately what we want. We're trying to get up to 3,500 subscribers by week 1, not week 0, week 1. So we got an extra week there. So please, anything you can do to share the show is greatly appreciated. But watching, I'm sure, is your most enjoyable thing. And a fun thing with this new toy we got is I can put your comments up on the screen. Like this, for example. Odysseus, first one in. Bang. On screen. How's that? That's pretty cool, right? Looks like my face is a little bright. Let me try turning down the lighting here. A little mood lighting here. How's that? Could be worse. Less of me and more of you is probably better, right? Anyways, so yeah. So this is one of the fun things. I can pop your comments up right on the screen so everybody can see them on Instagram and YouTube right now. I'm checking on the Instagram feed right now to make sure everything's up and running. Looks like it. Hey, we got somebody from Instagram. Thanks for joining, Z Cohen 5. Appreciate you. Pop your comments in the chat, and we'll read them on air. All right. So we're talking fall camp updates right now. We got a ton of info from Ryan Day yesterday. It was one of the most, one of the most straightforward, no BS kind of shows or press conferences from Ryan Day. He was very forthcoming with information, not hiding stuff and not, giving us coach speak and shit like that. So I enjoyed that. And Chip Kelly, he's too old for coach speak. Really, he's going to shoot from the hip, tell you how it is. And Jim Knowles seemed to be kind of cranky. I don't know, maybe he didn't have his milk and cookies. But anyways, let's get into Ryan Day's info that he gave us yesterday. Obviously, the big one, Will Howard is the starting quarterback. Have we settled on a nickname for Will Howard yet? I'm sticking with Willie Ho. I'm not a big fan of Chill Will. I heard that one thrown around today because growing up in Tiffin, there was this older dude that was kind of a dick to everybody. He's always hanging out in the clubs trying to pick up chicks, but he was like 15 years older than everybody else. His name was Chill Will. So it kind of has a negative connotation for me. That's why I'm sticking with Willie Ho for the Will Howard nickname. Anyways, back to the show here. He talked about Will Howard grading significantly higher than the other quarterbacks. He came into fall camp with a much better knowledge of the offense. After the first week of camp, he started to take control and make good decisions. With this defense, they don't need extraordinary play from the quarterback. Just make the routine plays routinely, that same old tagline that Ryan likes to put out there. Ryan Day met with all the quarterbacks Thursday morning. He told the group that Will Howard was the starter. He separated himself in the last week to 10 days. Right now, Devin Brown is the number two. But it's still a competition for that position. There's a big scrimmage tomorrow, Saturday. So Devin needs to continue to work on consistency. That's what we've always heard from him going into his third year. Consistency and protecting the ball. So not being too crazy with his passes and fumbles in the backfield. So they're going to look to get more QBs in the games early this season. We're talking regular season, these first garbage games. They're going to get dudes in there. So Ryan also said that nobody in the locker room will be surprised by the announcement. He also said that every year is different. Last year, he thought at this time a year ago, with 2 weeks to go in camp, that Devin was going to be the starter. But then Kyle kind of surged forward and took the job, much to our chagrin. Anyways, on the offensive line, Day had some interesting thoughts. He said that Taggart been getting better and better, Taggart Shabola. Seth McLaughlin has been the most consistent lineman in camp. And they're still trying to figure out the backups, also the right guard position, obviously. But that illness, that flu bug that ran through the offensive line room put them behind schedule. But now that's flushed out, literally. Zen Mahalski has been showing some signs at tackle. It's about time because we need a third tackle. They hope to find a third tackle from the tackle group. They don't want to move like a guard like Tegra over to tackle and then have two positions, that they're worried about, guard and tackle. So it makes sense. Stick with the tackle group and hopefully somebody steps up. On the receivers, Ryan Day talked about Brandon Innes and Bryson Rogers. Both are stepping up. He likes Coach Joe Antwi's work ethic. He's made a lot of changes and is more consistent now and is showing some signs. Jaden Ballard, again, we say this every year with Jaden Ballard at this time. He has flashed, but he's done that before, and they, again, need him to be more consistent. It's like a broken record here. Mylan Graham, for a young player, had really good 5 days of practice recently. He graded out a champion in last Saturday's scrimmage, by the way. And James Peoples, Ryan Day said Peoples really put together his best set of practices recently. He's seeing everything faster, so that's good when the game is slowing down for anybody, right? Ryan Day on Julian Sayans said he is in the mix as a backup, the number two, so battling Devin Brown. The faster he learns, the faster he'll get on the field. So it's just a matter of, getting those reps for Julian Sayans. On the tight ends, Ryan Day said Will Kazmarek has shown the ability to be durable and accountable in both pass and run games. G. Scott has been out a little bit. Jelani needs to play this year. He has great energy. He's being more and more focused on his job. Again, though, the consistency, he's talked about it before with Jelani. Special teams, we had some special teams updates. I know a few people ask about that every once in a while. They do not have a starting punter yet. They got 3 options. 2 are Australian. So, but it looks like the guy from Buffalo, Veneri, it looks like he's probably going to be your starting punter if they had to kick off the season today. He's just more consistent, has experience in American football. But so they just need to see consistency, hang time, and placement, on returners. This is always a point of emphasis because we haven't had a punt or kick return in 10 years for a touchdown. Emeka is in the mix both as a kick returner and punt returner. Carnell Tate is an option at kick returner. Jeremiah Smith and Brandon Ennis are both mixing in as punt returners. So interesting there that they would get their starting receivers all in the punt returner rotation there. Next up, we'll talk some Chip Kelly. I'll get to your comments in a second. I see him coming in. We will get to those. 1 second. Lost my place. All right. So on Chip Kelly, he had some updates as well. He said that Will Howard has earned the job. Decision-making is at the top of the list for all quarterbacks. It's not just who has the strongest arm. After decision-making, it is repetitive accuracy and then athleticism. So can you be accurate? Then can you repeat that like a golfer, right? You got to repeat that same swing over and over. Some of us better than others. Will Howard has shown all of these things: the athleticism, repetitive accuracy, and most importantly, decision-making. Devin Brown and Julian Sayin are doing a really good job with their decision-making. So that's a good sign. It's a good place to start. In the first 8 practices, the offense got their butts kicked, but they showed up very well in the scrimmage last week. No turnovers, and the QBs completed 70% of their passes. That's good. We'll take that all day long. Chipper said that the offensive line has been placed in tough situations, but they are responding. Austin Sareveld had played both guard and tackle. At one practice last week, they were down to 10 scholarship linemen, so it got difficult to practice. Versatility is important for Austin Sareveld. You're always trying to find your top 8, so having a guy that maybe is good at both positions, guard and tackle, that is always going to help down the road. That's my opinion, not Chip's. Chip talked about Emeka Egbuka. He said, quote, he's in a box of his own. He's not a small slot receiver. He can take on linebackers. He can carry the ball. He can get open, make tough catches. He sets a tone with the entire receiver group. He leads by example. And Jim Knowles just had a few quick ones here. He said, practice is a battle every day. It's back and forth. Will Howard has been very accurate. So, again, kind of reiterating what Chipper said. I don't know why I call him Chipper. It's just maybe it's because of Chipper Jones. That's like the last time I watched baseball is when he was playing for the Braves. Anyways, Arvell Reese was the defensive MVP in the scrimmage last Saturday. He's made great strides since he's been here. He's been on the attack, playing downhill. He's as good as anybody in that linebacker room. They have not done much with Sonny Styles and C.J. Hicks at Mike linebacker. Those two also play Sam, but so they've really just been practicing at Sam and Will for those occasions when they might have to bring out a third linebacker. One of them will play that Sam position, but he doesn't want to put too much on him right now. Jim Knowles doesn't. So he's not really having them practice at Mike. He's got Cody Simon starting at Mike, and plus Gabe Powers would be your next in at the Mike. Jim Knowles only questions right now the safety depth. They feel good about the starters, obviously. Malik Hartford and Jalen McClain are behind the starters, but they're still learning. Malik Hartford is growing with some confidence. He's got the talent. He just needs the reps and, again, build up that confidence. Jim Knowles feels a lot better about the nickel spot, having Lorenzo Styles Jr. back in the lineup. Remember, he was out in spring, had a little procedure on his shoulder. He had a dislocated shoulder one in the spring. So he'll be backing up Jordan Hancock at the slot. And Jim Knowles talked about the defensive lineman. He said, I think we've got a strong second unit there. Caden McDonald shows up all the time. Caden Curry, Mitchell Melton, and Kenyatta Jackson can all play. Hero Canoe is flashing. And for a young guy, Edric Houston flashes. He's strong at the point of attack. And he said overall, the defense has a great attitude. They can be pushed and pushed. So good for a coach to be able to tweak those guys and continue pushing them. All right. Let's get to the chat. I got to take a drink of water. I should have poured a shot. I got to do. I got to monitor comments from YouTube and from Instagram. Wow. All right. No problem. Not a pussy. But you are what you eat. Hey-o. All right, folks. Let's keep it clean here. I'm just kidding. All right. Odysseus was first one in with his OH and a bunch of nuts. Then he came back in with the thumbs up on the picture. Appreciate that. Steven, what's up, Steven? Good to see you. Good to see you. Odysseus says, hey, Steven. Again, folks, all these, I'm popping up every comment that comes in on the screen. So if you're watching, your comment's going to come up on screen. Odysseus says, hey, Steven. Troy says, not a big nickname guy. I'll just call him Will. Okay. Back to the basics. No problem, Troy. Steven, same, says the same. All right. I'm just trying to liven things up, guys. And trying to be funny. My wife says I'm not very funny sometimes. Next up, David. What's up, David? David says, do you see Devin sticking around for the QB battle for next year? Imagine losing 3 consecutive QB1 battles. I would advise him against it. I would advise him to jump ship. Not because I think he's not good. I would say it's not going to work out, man. I agree. I would feel really bad for him if he burned 4 years here and just had 1 year left. He had a red shirt his freshman year. So if he burned a 4th year with a 5th only remaining, I would feel terrible for Devin. I mean, I love that he gambled on himself, believed in himself, burnt the boats, all that stuff. And, never say die kind of attitude. It's awesome. I love it. But I just, I think this might not be the place where he plays. He might have to drop down a little bit of a level. Still, I think he can play Power 5 ball, but I'm saying maybe another Big Ten program, not named. Well, he could play at Penn State. I wouldn't want to see him in the Big Ten because he'd have it out for us every year, every time we saw him. I wouldn't want to see him with the cheaters, but he could go to Wisconsin. Is that good or bad? I think that'd be all right. Luke Fickell likes tough quarterbacks that can run. So I think maybe just a step down, because, again, like I mentioned, Ryan Day has said it, the consistency and taking care of the ball. That's where he's lacking, unfortunately. So I don't know. I couldn't look the kid in the face and say, stick it out another year, because the clock is ticking on these guys. I feel terrible, but I would hate to lose Devin, but I know he could go start at a ton of Power 5 programs across the country. So, all right. That's a good question, though, David. I hope he doesn't stick around just for his own sake. I like him as a backup, but I think if you're smart, you got to move on. If you're Devin, PC, next up. You don't have to apologize for anything, PC. PC says, sorry, I'm late, boys. Um, my wife is commenting on Instagram Live. The only time she ever talks to me on Instagram. Figures, right? Just kidding. Good to see you, PC. PC has a few in a row here. He says, I love your morning show today more than usual. Well, you should love them all. Loving your take on Sonny Styles. I think everyone else seems to be on board too. Yeah, today's show was about the Buckeye Freaks list. I gave you a handful of Buckeyes that are on my Freaks list. Bruce Feldman, the writer for The Athletic, longtime college football guy, released his Freaks list like a week or two ago. But yeah, CJ Hicks, Sonny Styles, Tyleek, I mean, obviously Jeremiah Smith is in that freaky list. But yeah, thanks, PC. I appreciate the pat on the back. Oh, here's a good one. PC says you could replace Chuck Norris's name with Sonny Styles on any of those jokes. He's a monster. I can't wait to see him. That's true. He is a Chuck Norris kind of guy. Can get you out of a jam. I'm not seeing my Instagram comments coming up. All right. To the Instagram folks, we got Z Cohen 5. He says, is Hinsman starting? I don't think so. He's in the mix for that right guard spot, but he missed a lot of time with that flu virus that ran through the offensive line group. So I don't think he's going to get the starting gig. I got my money on Tegra. So I think Tegra Shabola is going to be your starter at right guard. Hinsman will be the backup center behind McLaughlin, and then probably backup right guard behind Tegra if I had to make a lineup today. The Jillian Warwick says, love the live stream to all the platforms. Thank you. You're so sweet. Can't get enough of me, can she? All right. She's very supportive, and we love her. Next up, Odysseus says Devin will probably go out west. Yeah, that's probably a fair assumption. I don't know if Lincoln Riley would take him at USC, maybe, if he needs a quarterback in the next coming years, Maybe that's possible. But yeah, maybe Utah, but I think he's better. Utah seems like two steps down to me, kind of, I mean, they just moved from freaking, I don't know. Yeah. Odysseus says Utah. I could see that. I would like to see him at a slightly bigger program, though, for more exposure, But keeping it rolling here. PC says, yeah, too bad for Devin. I love his fire. Who knows? Maybe he'll get some decent playing time. I'm hoping so. Well, early, yeah. I think all of the quarterbacks, except maybe Air, but I think the top four quarterbacks are going to play. There's no reason to redshirt anybody, including Julian Sane. So I think they're all going to play, except maybe Air. We'll see, though. Maybe all five play. That's a stretch, in my opinion. That seems really difficult. It's hard enough to get them all practice reps. Air's been limited the most in practice, so I think you're going to see four, especially in the first three games, for sure. Steven says, in regard to Devin, back home out west, Washington, maybe. Yeah. Never know. He could go to an Oregon. They're constantly cycling through transfer quarterbacks, Who knows what Dante Moore has, We'll see. Got some people joining on the Instagram Live. Love it. Keep them coming. PC says, Devin and the injuries are another thing. Feel bad for the kid. Exactly. Yeah. Bad timing on those injuries too. The Cotton Bowl was just just all around shit show. O-line, quarterbacks, just that was hard to watch. So yeah, again, injuries. He had the injury in the Penn State game, middle of the season, came back. Wasn't really the same. It seemed like ankle injuries are gonna be a pain in the ass and kind of linger all year long. So yeah, but I if somebody's advising him, I'm sure he's a smart kid, obviously, but if whoever his advisor is, his parents, whoever, high school coach, even Ryan Day for that matter, should probably tell him, look, if you don't see the field this year, you probably need to start looking because you're just running out of time. You're going to paint yourself into a corner. But Steven says, I know he's not from there. Yeah, right. We all know. We got you, Steven. He's from Utah. Billy, what's up, Billy? Billy says, late to the party, go Bucks. Barbaro says, RG3 situation. In what regard? I don't know. Is something going on with RG3? What do you do now? Try and swallow a croissant whole over in Paris? I need a little more info there. PC says, the dinosaurs looked at Sonny Styles the wrong way once. You know what happened to them. Exactly. Yep. Or Chuck Norris, right? I need a drink of water. We got some people popping in over here on Instagram. Who knows? Might be our next most popular channel. Yeah, PC says, I was a little surprised that Taggart came into camp with a fury. Seems like he really made the most of the offseason, and Coach Mick made the most out of Taggart. Love it. Yeah. 6'6", 320, whatever he is, 330. Great footwork, very athletic. He's a monster, and it's his third year. This is when your offensive linemen have to start seeing the field. If they don't, then you got to start asking questions like, what the hell is going on? Why? All of that stuff. And it goes back to development at that point, mostly, unless there's an injury involved or something like that. So, but yeah, that's why I got Tegra in as a starter at right guard. We'll see. I just feel good because he hasn't missed any snaps, whereas Hinsman missed a bunch of practice. Billy says, do we lose air as well before next season? I don't think so. I'd be shocked if anybody leaves other than Devin. Maybe Lincoln. Before like back around spring, I was thinking maybe Lincoln could move on if he doesn't see the field this year. I would understand that as well. I don't know. He could go to like Iowa. Those Iowa clowns were spreading rumors last year that Lincoln Kenols was looking at them as a transfer. It wasn't true. It was completely made up by podcast losers. But yeah, I don't think we lose air though. He's got another year of development for sure. But that QB battle next year is going to be very interesting, and the year after that, and the year after that. Odysseus says, glad a starter was named earlier this year to get the full fall first team reps going into the season. I agree 100% there. I did not want to see this be a last minute decision or into the season decision like last year. And I really think last year's situation did have an effect on Ryan Day this year. He said it didn't. I'm calling BS on that. I think he definitely had he knows that he effed it up last year, big time. Pardon my French. Just kidding. Yep. But yeah, I agree. You got to get that cohesiveness with the O-line, the receivers, running backs. The entire offensive unit has to be working together in unison. So, is anybody watching the golf? Looks like we got Hideki Matsuyama in first. The playoffs are going on. Scotty Scheffler up there, 2 back. I'll turn that off because I'll get distracted real quick. David says about the QB battle for next year. Does Julian winning and having at least 2 years left? Do we lose St. Clair? Something tells me he wants to play low key. A worry of mine. I'm not worried about Tavian St. Clair at all. I don't think he expects to come in and battle for the starting job in 2025. I really don't think that. I do think that it's going to be interesting next year between Julian Sayin, Aaron Nolan, Lincoln, and if Devin's still around, Devin, but I kind of doubt. I kind of take him out of the equation right now. So the QB battle for next year is going to be hot and heavy. It's going to be interesting, but St. Clair is not going to be lost at all. He's a diehard Buckeye. Always wanted to play for the Buckeyes. He's done everything. He's on campus like every weekend that he possibly can be. Now that their high school has started practice again, he's obviously with his team, but you're going to see him on campus for home games and stuff like that. So he is locked in. So I would put your fears to rest on Tavian. But I don't have saying winning the QB job as a layup next year. I can't put money on that right now. Next up, we got PC. PC says for sure they have to get Julian some playing time. He's going to be the man in the not too distant future. Exactly, yeah. They got to get Sayin some playing time. They got to get Lincoln in there. You don't really know what you have with Lincoln Keenholz. The freaking Cotton Bowl was not a good representation of, he's behind a makeshift O-line. Starter at center was benched. Moved a guard over to center. It was just a total cluster. So, I would like to see Lincoln Keenholz in games, maybe even meaningful snaps. Let's see what we really have with Lincoln. Because I know he's a great athlete. Obviously, he played like 50 sports, the South Dakota Heisman, all that stuff. But let's see him really operate the offense, like the full portfolio of the offense, not just turn around and hand the ball off. Let's see him operate the entire offense. I really want to see that. And everybody else too, all the quarterbacks, ultimately. Billy says when you recruit a blue chip QB or 2 every year, something has to give. Yeah, that's a fair point. But like wise Ohio State coach used to say, it's life in the big city. Something does have to give. Somebody's going to have to transfer out. 100%. I agree, Billy. It's a question of who. I think he's got to go. I think Devin's got to go just for himself, not because he's not good, but just for himself. Billy says he got fired. RG3 got fired? Yeah, I'll let you know when I feel bad about that. I don't watch that network anyways, except for college games. And I rarely get to see RG3, thank God, on college games. Odysseus says, saw some high school in the toilet up north, hired stallions. We'll probably send drones to opposing high school practices. I got to get Sean on that. He lives in Detroit. We'll talk to him Sunday night. Mumford is the high school, Mumford High School. So we'll see if Sean can get out there and maybe get some surveillance footage of stallions on the sidelines. Sean can be the stallions of this show. But yeah, that's pretty funny. How about them? How about the cheaters changing their minds on the Harbaugh situation? Think they're kind of tired of him yet, or what? That dude, that whole program's a freaking nightmare, man. Next up, But Burrow says he got fired from ESPN. Oh, RG3, yeah. Um, yeah, he'll be all right. PC says RG3 dude got fired. All right, we got it. Thank you. Billy says, laughing at Odysseus. Let's check the Instagram. Oh, Julie Warwick 94 has joined the chat. Welcome in, Julie. That is my sister. Leave her alone. PC, I'm just running through comments here. PC says probably because he was deep throating that croissant and cupping the balls. All right. It's a family show. Not really. Yeah, I saw that. He did look comfortable doing it, didn't he? Heyo. Billy says that wasn't very PC. Billy's bringing the jokes. I love it. You know, it's a good day when Billy's dropping jokes in the chat. PC says, do you know if college is going to do kickoffs like the NFL is doing now? Not sure how I feel about it. I have not seen a change in that rule for college yet. I'm sure it's coming, but not this year. That's what she said. I shouldn't have said that. But yeah, I think it probably will happen. Seems like everything with college football is just a couple of years behind the NFL, except for helmet comms. The helmet comms are 30 years behind the NFL in college football. I'm not a fan, but just leave it the way it is. Are there that many injuries on kickoffs that we need to change it? If so, okay, then you got my attention. But if you're just changing it to change it, then what are we doing? You know. David says Sonny reminds me of Terrell Pryor. Okay, long, freaky, athletic. I could see that big dude. Yeah, they're both monsters. PC says, speaking of kickoff, it needs to be Ballard and Innes, not Emeka or Trey. Trey actually was returning kicks early in his career. His freshman year, he started as a kick returner, not just kick returner, but tailback too. But they pulled him once they saw what they had with him, and he was going to get more reps and more snaps at tailback. They're like, all right, we're pulling him off of the kickoff return duties. He's too valuable. The Ohio podcast airs. Father Prentice Nolan called into our show last night. He kept saying that Air is trusting the process. I don't see him going anywhere. I agree 100%. I agree. I did not see your show. I apologize. I will check it out, though. It's a lot of shows out there. But yeah, thanks for the info. I I don't see Air going anywhere. I mean, he's smart. He's a smart kid. So I think 100% he is going to trust the process, let it play out, and maybe make a decision in a year, you know. Drop your comments in the live chat on Instagram. I am monitoring those as well. Troy says, I still think by the time it's all said and done, Lincoln will be a starter, just not here due to the logjam at QB. Kid has skill, needs to develop due to being from such a small state. Exactly. That's part of the problem is Lincoln, did not play anywhere near the level of talent that a lot of these kids play at the top level of high school football. Your South Florida teams, even your Maryland teams, St. Ed's up in Cleveland. They play a national schedule. They play teams from New Jersey, South Florida, Maryland, all these big time schools. So out west, they play modern day teams like that. So I agree. Lincoln just has not played. I don't know. Maybe he can get adjusted to the speed of the game, the college game, and the bump up in competition. Maybe he can get adjusted. Seems like that would take you a while. He's only been on campus for about 14 months. So going into his second year. But yeah, I agree. He was my first thought of somebody who needs to transfer or somebody who might transfer. Um, Devin being first, though, just because of the clock is ticking. He's running out of time, unfortunately. He doesn't have a COVID year or an injury year that he can tack on to the back end, you know. Billy says, I like Air a lot. Glad he seems to be staying. I agree, 100%. I'm a big fan of Air, especially breathing air. Hey-o. That's not funny. Billy says, I remember when there was a buzz about Lincoln transferring to Iowa a while back. Yeah, that was totally false, made up by Iowa folks, message board honks or whatever. So, yeah, that was not even real. But yeah, that I could see him going there, but he'd be like their best quarterback ever. I'm talking better than Chuck Long. I mean, he would be an all-time legend at Iowa. They've never had a dude like that. He's not a Ricky Stanzi. The hell out of here. But Burrow says if Day loses somehow again to Michigan, is he out or depends on what happens after that? No, he's not out. He's not out. The seat gets hot, but if you're telling me that's either loss number 1 or loss number 2 on the season, then you're going to make the playoffs, man. You might not make the Big Ten championship game, but you're at least getting a playoff game. And it's going to be at home, most likely, depending on how the seeding works out. But most likely, you would be seated somewhere in the top half. Hopefully get an on-campus home game to start the playoffs. And who knows, you make a run. What if he wins a championship? Wins 4 in a row. How do you fire a guy that wins a natty, just because he lost to the cheaters 4 years in a row? That's the question. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I would not fire a guy that wins a national championship. I don't care who he lost to. But I don't see it happening this year. I think Ryan Day is going to smoke those fools. It's in Columbus. I know we've said this all before. But I think if he gets a shot, Day is going to try and hang 100 on him. I'm serious, man. He's going to run it up, to prove a point and to probably just release some of the demons, like, I'm going to break my foot off in your ass. So if he gets the opportunity, I think he runs it up. It also depends, are we playing the following week in the Big Ten championship game? Then you might want to rest guys if you got a big lead. So it could go either way there. But good question. But Burrow, appreciate you popping in. Troy says, good thing that croissant wasn't a cream-filled eclair. That would have been odd. Yeah, that's gross. Gross. Let's check on Instagram. Instagram's quiet now. Don't be afraid to drop some comments in there, Instagram, folks. Ray's up next. Ray, what's up? Ray, good to see you making the live show. He says, hey, bro, picture looks great. I love the new platform, man, and now you're really starting to kick some ass. Of course, I bet all of that shit costs a lot of money. Not a lot, but more than I prefer to spend. That's, what I'm saying? Could get a couple bottles of nice bourbon for that. But trying to, continue to make this a better place. Punch a Wolverine fan in the face. But yeah, trying to level it up, as the kids say. Just trying to clean it up. I was really looking at the quality of our live streams. The daily blitzes are fine, but the live stream shows really the quality was shitty and just not up to par. And so I had to make a little bit of an investment. So again, I appreciate all you guys do for the channel, subscribing, liking, commenting. It all helps. Everything you do helps. So I greatly appreciate it. We're going to go to 5:30 here Eastern, and then reminder: me, Jeff, and Sean are back Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So I hope you'll make it there. We will be back on Instagram Live, and we'll see if I can talk to Mark Zuckerberg and work out my Facebook issue. Does anybody have his number? If you have his number, please drop it in the chat. I'd like to talk to that dude. Got a lot of things on my mind. But anyways, thank you, Ray Ray. Appreciate the pat on the back and the fist bump. Appreciate it. PC's up next. He says, regarding Howard, what would you say if he was able to come up with 3,000 yards passing, 300 yards rushing, and 30 TDs? Seems like that with our D would get us pretty far. Natty or bust. Well, funny you should ask, PC. I actually did an episode about Will Howard. One of my hot takes it was my very first hot take episode a few weeks ago. I got Will Howard throwing for 4,000 yards, actually. We didn't touch on his rushing, but I think I had him at about 30, 35 TDs. I forget. The main focus was I got him throwing for 4,000 yards. But, yeah, I could see him tacking on easily a 300 rushing, maybe 400. He's put up some numbers running the ball at K-State. I think he had a year where he was up over 450, something like that. So I like the 30 TDs. The question is, how deep in these games will he go? Is he going to play 3 quarters? Or do you pull him out right after half? Let him go into halftime, come out, play one series on offense, and then yank him. Especially his first 3 games, that I could see that being the scenario. That's kind of been Ryan Day's MO when it comes to the quarterbacks. Cruising along here, Steven says, I heard somebody say Will Howard just needs to not wreck the Ferrari. That's a good way to put it too, yeah. Yeah, he's got the offensive Ferrari. Just don't put it into the guardrails, right? Keep it between the navigational beacons. So, yeah, this is a high-powered machine. Look at all the firepower, wide receivers, running backs. This is a well-oiled machine. Take care of it. Don't drive it like it's a Pinto. Next up, Troy says QBs don't go to Iowa to develop. No, they do not. That's an excellent point. So, yeah, I can see your point about Lincoln Keno's going to Iowa. Yeah, it does not make sense. I agree. So maybe that doesn't happen. I should have poured some liquor in there. Anyway, yeah, I agree, Troy. There's very few Big Ten teams where quarterbacks do go to develop. I mean, now you can add in USC. Can you say Oregon develops quarterbacks? I can't. They've been working on transfers. Washington, I don't know. Does Jed Fish develop quarterbacks? I doubt it. UCLA, obviously not. So Ohio State, can't say Penn State develops quarterbacks at all. They just fired their quarterback coach / OC, Mike Yurcich, last year. So the cheaters don't develop quarterbacks, that's for sure. That'd be a very simple practice for them to develop quarterbacks. Just take the ball, turn, hand it off, lesson over. Yeah. I don't know where quarterbacks would go to develop in the Big Ten. Nothing's coming to mind. PC says if he goes full Cooper mode, then yes. Oh, PC's talking about Ryan Day, firing Ryan Day. Yeah. PC says, I really hope Day does run it up, just full on, all go, no stop. That's the message he's been sending all offseason. He's been saying, leave no doubt. That's what he keeps saying. Don't let it come down to one referee's call. Don't let it come down to one score. Don't let it come down to one play call or one play. Leave no doubt. When you got your foot on their throats, snap it. And I agree 100%. Too many close games in the last few years that should have never been close games. Billy says, I think Howard will be invited to New York in September. I agree. I think he's like fourth or fifth in the Heisman odds right now. So hop on those if you want some decent action. I want to say he's like plus 1,800, something like that, maybe. Let me check that real quick. I got it right in front of me. I just placed a couple wagers you might be interested in regarding Ohio State football. Let me check this Heisman. Sorry, 1 second. Futures. Well, they got all the awards here. Damn. Yeah. Will Howard. Oh, no, he's way down there. He's seventh. Plus 1,600 for Will Howard. They do have some wagers you can put on. This is on betonline.ag. Not that I use it or anything. But they do have some wagers like yards. For example, Big Ten leader in receiving yards. I got Jeremiah Smith. He's at plus 2,500. Quarterbacks. Big Ten leader in passing yards. Will Howard at plus 1,000. I like those. Yeah, here they are. Player performance. You can bet on ACC yards leaders, passing, receiving, rushing. Big 12, Big 10, SEC. So just the Power Four there. They got Dylan Gabriel as the Big Ten passing leader. He's the favorite at plus 125. Then Miller Moss. Then Will Rogers out at Washington. Then Ethan Garbers at UCLA. Are you freaking kidding me? Then Will Howard at plus 1,000. So, yeah. But let's get back to the chat here for a few more minutes. I agree with you, Billy. I think Will Howard will be invited to New York by somebody. Maybe not the Heisman Club, but somebody will invite him, I'm sure. Just kidding. Yes, we know it's in December. It's okay. They've really got to do that in like freaking February, end of January. Can't they do the Heisman at the end of January? I mean, the season's like half over, in December. I mean, the important part of the season anyway. You're just starting the playoffs practically. So in December, that's more important to me. PC says, oh yeah, I missed some of your hot takes. I really like those. 4K would be even better. Is this not in 4K? Oh, I thought you were talking about the video. Yes, 4,000 yards passing would be better, PC. Thank you. It's okay. You can go back and catch any of the daily blitzes. I also had a good hot take on Trey and Quinshawn and their combined rushing yards. Might want to check that out. PC says, liquor in the front, poker in the rear. Poker in the rear, I hardly know her. Hey-oh. It's terrible. It's lame, sophomoric humor, right? Clean it up. PC says, Orgy won't make it to the game. He'll get hurt or he'll get yanked. Either way, I doubt we'll even see him in Columbus. That's very possible. They might just run him into the ground like he's a running back, which then leads us to Jack Tuttle. Can I interest you in a Jack Tuttle? 7th year Jack Tuttle. Poor bastard. So, yeah, I agree with you. PC, Orgy might not even make it. PC finishing up here as we wind down. Did you hear that Kelly chewed Hartline's ass because the wide receivers weren't blocking in practice? Great stuff. Yeah. Heard that a couple different areas, but yeah. I think Chipper has I think he has the cachet to get away with doing that. He might like Brian Hartline, but he doesn't know Brian Hartline that closely. They've only been working together for 6 months. So, and Chip's not afraid to tell somebody what the hell is going on and how he thinks, what he feels. So, um, he's like 60 years old. So Chip doesn't give an F, about a Brian Hartline. Chip's been doing this. So good. Somebody needs to motivate these freaking receivers to block better. Somebody. I just don't know when or who else is going to do it. You know. So, and that's the thing is it's a two-way street, right? If you want your wide receivers to get open, then you're going to need the running backs to block. You're going to need the O line to block. So when a running play is called, get your ass out there and block for these running backs. Do your part. It's a team game. It's the ultimate team game. And if one segment of the team, a few guys aren't doing their job, then what are we doing here? I mean, then are you being a good teammate if you're not chipping in, doing your part? No, you're not. I'll answer it for you. So, yeah. But all right, PC, I see you working. Thank you. PC says, great show, Joe. I love the new format where you put the chat on the screen. That's great. I'm glad you like that. I thought you guys might dig that. We got some new toys here, and most importantly, though, I should look good. That's most important to me, right? I mean, what else is there here? You're having your messages on screen's great and all, but I just need to look good, right? I'm kidding. Come on. We're laughing. We're laughing. Now, if we can get Jeff and Sean to get through their technical issues, which I know will crop up at the last minute, we'll end up probably starting late on Sunday night because Jeff, says he doesn't have internet access or some stupid shit. But hopefully not. Hopefully not. Just jokes. I'm related to him, so I can make fun of him. But yeah, let's wind it down. Let's hit the road here. Great turnout. Please hit the like button on your way out. We really need to get our viewership up here. Wow. Anyways, I'm sure everybody is slowly trickling back to college football. Maybe you took the summer off, needed a little break. That's fine. We're always going to be here talking Buckeye football because, it's my air. Anyway, appreciate you guys stopping by. We will see you Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And keep an eye out for your daily blitz every morning. And we'll talk to you later. All right? Go Bucks.